Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Mark from SolarGames, and today I'm coming to you from a very special place. We are at the kind of halfway point between on Elephant Mountain. It's a pretty cool hike in Taiwan. The purpose of today's video, though, isn't really about the hike, although there will be some footage of the hike as well. Really, the purpose of today is that, oftentimes when I travel across the world, one of the things I think about is a lot of things I kind of experience when I'm around the area. It inspires me about certain concepts, ideas, identity that I find very interesting. Today's topic is going to be about identity itself, the purpose of identity, right? So while I was in the Taipei 101 tower, I saw a video of a young gentleman. One quote that he said really inspired me, right? So basically his topic was something like this. He believes that the Taipei 101 building, this building that you see right behind me here, is the identity, the core of Taiwan. When Taiwanese people think about, their country, what they're proud of, this is one of the symbols of their country. This, architectural, technological marvel is really something that's representative of who they are. And it really made me start thinking about like other things, right? Other aspects, other games, other, IPs that have or don't have identity and what that does to the branding over time. In fact, building branding, building identity, it takes a long time. It's really not a thing that you can easily achieve. And here, as I'm climbing this mountain, really started making me thinking about all the different ways that identity affects, the different aspects of something. So what is the purpose of identity? Well, to start off, the purpose of identity is really to give your brand an easily recognizable marker. So for example, if you see a T like the symbol of Tesla, right? Then you know that's Tesla. You look at like a well-designed metallic surface of a cell phone, usually that's a symbol of Apple, right? There's different pieces that really invoke the kind of feeling. You don't even have to see the logo, and it gives you and invokes that kind of feeling, right? There's certain artists, right, when they draw or paint a certain way, you look at the artwork and you know it's Van Gogh, you know it's a Picasso, etc., right? Or if there's some music, right, certain way. For example, when a pianist like Rachmaninoff plays piano, he's very fast with his keys. So that fast key is really part of his identity. When it comes back to like things like card games or IPs in general, like if you talk about Luffy, you talk about Nami, like One Piece, everybody knows. These are the characters that have been around for like 30 plus years, that everyone has understanding of who they are, what they represent. So when somebody says Luffy, people have an identity and feeling about who this person is and why that person is important, what makes them important, what are their goals, what are their feelings, what are the things that are important for them that they chase after. And this is really important, right? When an IP has identity, when the creators and owners of IP foster and build upon this identity, it gives you this sense that they care about the core game, they care about the core aspects, they care about the things that they're producing, right? So in some ways, SolarGames has an identity. Sometimes when people think about my videos, they think about like, hey, you're pretty off the cuff, you talk very real. Well, that's part of my identity. It's actually very important to me that I don't write a very scripted piece when I present a video to you all, right? It's more of a one-cut, like unscripted, and I basically say whatever the fuck I want to say, anywhere I want to say it and that kind of thing. So this is part of my identity. So some other aspects, for example, is that, maybe you think about certain color themes, like for example, I always think about like Apple, right? Where they have specific colors that are part of their core identity. They won't use certain color themes. They're more usually softer colors, more like creamy colors are part of their identity, right? So that's something that's important to them. The other thing that's really important about identity is that it gives people hope. It gives some people something to strive for. One of the things about identity that's really important is that, you want to have something that you're pushing for. What are the things that you care about? What are the things that continue to drive people to and inspire them to do something, right? Especially, for example, in like a card game, anime, etc. People really want to keep watching anime. They want to keep playing a card game because it makes them want to continue to be part of that identity. This is also another important aspect of something. All in all, I guess what I'm trying to say is that it provides you meaning, right? So like at the core of what you're building, at the core of what you're doing, at the core of what you're playing, it has meaning, it has purpose. Now, one of the things that has happened in the last, like, I would say 2 years is that, we got to talk about HASBRO, right? HASBRO has, in effect, in the last 2 years, lost all purpose and sense of identity. If you had asked me 5 years ago, what is Magic the Gathering? I would tell you it's like fantasy, high fantasy. So think goblins, elves, etc., battling it out in a very like D&D style. It's dungeons, it's spells, it's wizardry, artifacts, enchantments, spellcraft, battles between goblins, elves, humans, orcs, etc. Right? That's the identity of Magic. The artwork is also very key. It has this rustic, like, hand-drawn pieces, especially back in the 90s and early 2000s. Magic artwork was really unique. It had these hand-drawn pieces. But all that identity has been lost over just the last 2 years with Universes Beyond. And, I've said this on the channel many, many times. If I could take it all back, I'm a big, big fan of 40K, right? Warhammer 40K collab with Magic the Gathering was awesome. It's really one of the best things that has happened. However, I would give all of that up if we don't have Universes Beyond at all, right? And Universes Beyond, in a lot of different ways, has taken identity away from Magic the Gathering. So, I want to ask everybody, maybe right now you don't feel this way, but let's say in about 2 years, 3 years, we have a lot of potentially new players coming into the game. Do you think when they see a Final Fantasy Magic card or a, like Optimus Prime Magic card, do they think Magic? Or do they think Transformers? Do they think Final Fantasy? Do they think One Piece, Doctor Who, Walking Dead? You got like Arcane, Lord of the Rings. These are all part of Magic now. And looking forward in the calendar, you have, like Fallout. You have many, many other pieces that will also be incorporated into Magic that are nothing like the past of what Magic used to be. And so my question to you all is that worth it? Is it worth it that Hasbro has, in the last 2 years, lost all sense of identity for its card game? And does that matter? Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe in the long run, Magic just becomes kind of a gameplay system that anybody can be part of, and its identity is around that. Its identity is around the gameplay system. The back of the card, for example, will not change, right? And the gameplay system, the system of sorcery, instant speed, etc., those things won't change. The tap symbol, the mana symbols, these things won't change. However, I think the core artwork, the characters, the themes, the people that you've cared about over time will change. And I wonder if it's worth it to sacrifice those things for the purpose of, I guess, making money, right? So yes, Magic is making a lot of money and it's having a better year every single year, hitting new marks, making $1 billion or having a $1 billion revenue year after year. But long term, what it's losing is that it's losing the core of what it's meant to be and what it has built for the last 30 years. And I wonder if it actually is worth it long term. And while it's true that in general, when people look at a card, like I was mentioning earlier, like a Transformer card, they don't really think Magic Gathering anymore. They think Transformers, they think Optimus Prime, they think Megatron, right? These things are not part of Magic. I guess the question is, number one, does it matter? But number two, does the company care? Because at some point in this journey, the company has failed to care. And they have basically said, it doesn't matter. Just like when Taiwanese people look at this tower and they think, this is Taiwan, this is something they're proud of. I wonder if long-term, Wizards of the Coast, Hasbro, Magic Gathering cares that when they look at a Magic card, somebody will say, this is Magic, and this is something that's meaningful to me, and this is something that I care about. Or does that not matter at all to them anymore? So, yeah, my thinking, identity is very important. And that's why in a lot of ways, I'm starting to think, long term, I wonder if Magic will be in a good spot, because it is losing so much of what it's meant to be as a card game, as an IP, as something that's very unique that was created 30 years ago, that the world has never seen before, but now is in a very crowded market, right? So the reality is there are so many games out there, there are so many TCGs out there that are really worth your time. And in a world where Magic the Gathering is charging like double of what they've had charged over maybe even 3-4 years ago, I really wonder, is it worth it to buy into something that has lost all identity, that's twice the cost as other games, and when there's so many other alternatives that are just much, much better? So, yeah. Well, that's what I'm thinking about. Short video. Sorry, guys. Thank you for listening. Mark from SolarGames. Stay classy.